The political landscape erupted when President Donald Trump announced Robert F. Kennedy Jr. as his nominee for Secretary of Health and Human Services. Kennedy, a known vaccine skeptic, immediately faced pushback. His stance on abortion, however, quickly emerged as the primary battleground. The nomination sent shockwaves through Washington. Pro-choice advocates and conservatives alike expressed deep concern. The political fault lines were quickly redrawn, setting the stage for a high-stakes confirmation battle. The nomination also ignited a firestorm of debate among the American public. Social media platforms became battlegrounds for opposing viewpoints. The nation held its breath as the Senate prepared to deliberate on Kennedy's fate. Former Vice President Mike Pence, a staunch conservative and anti-abortion advocate, emerged as a vocal critic of Kennedy's nomination. Pence, who has long been a prominent figure in the conservative movement, has never shied away from expressing his deeply held beliefs. His opposition to Kennedy's nomination was no exception. Pence, known for his unwavering commitment to his beliefs, publicly denounced the nomination. He took to various platforms, from press conferences to interviews, to make his stance clear. His message was consistent and firm. Kennedy's views were incompatible with the values that Pence and his supporters held dear. He called upon the Senate to reject Kennedy, citing his stance on abortion as a disqualifying factor. Pence argued that the Senate had a duty to uphold the principles of life and liberty, and that confirming Kennedy would be a step in the wrong direction. Mr. Kennedy's views on abortion are fundamentally at odds with the sanctity of life, Pence declared in a fiery speech. His words were charged with emotion, reflecting the intensity of his convictions. He spoke of the moral imperative to protect the unborn and the responsibility of lawmakers to make decisions that align with these values. His confirmation would be a grave mistake, a betrayal of the values we hold dear. Pence's rhetoric was powerful, aiming to rally those who shared his views and to persuade those who were undecided. He painted a vivid picture of the consequences of confirming Kennedy, urging his audience to consider the long-term implications. Pence's words resonated with the conservative base. His supporters, who had long admired his steadfastness, responded with enthusiasm. They saw in Pence a leader who was willing to stand up for what he believed in, even in the face of significant opposition. His opposition carried significant weight, potentially influencing undecided senators. The Senate, aware of Pence's influence, listened closely. His arguments added a new dimension to the debate, making it clear that the decision was not just political, but deeply moral. The battle lines were drawn, the stakes were high. The nomination of Kennedy had become a flashpoint, a symbol of the broader cultural and political battles being fought across the country. As the Senate prepared to vote, the nation watched closely, aware that the outcome would have far-reaching consequences. RFK Jr.'s stance on abortion has been complex and, at times, contradictory. Over the years, his views have shifted, reflecting a nuanced and often perplexing position on this deeply divisive issue. His early statements suggested a more liberal view, aligning with his support for personal autonomy and medical freedom. In the 1990s, he was vocal about a woman's right to choose, emphasizing the importance of individual liberties and the need for government to stay out of personal medical decisions. However, his position appeared to shift in recent years. As the political landscape changed, and the debate over abortion became even more polarized, Kennedy's statements began to reflect a more cautious approach. In a 2024 interview, Kennedy stated, "I believe in a woman's right to choose, but I also believe that life is precious and should be protected." This statement, while seemingly balanced, did little to clarify his position. It left many wondering where he truly stood on the issue. This statement, while seemingly balanced, did little to clarify his position. His attempt to strike a middle ground only added to the confusion. Was he trying to appeal to both sides, or was he genuinely conflicted about the issue? His evolving stance created confusion and frustration among both pro-choice and pro-life advocates. Pro-choice supporters felt betrayed by his apparent shift, while pro-life advocates were skeptical of his commitment to their cause. Critics accused him of political maneuvering, attempting to appease both sides of the aisle. They argued that his ambiguous statements were a strategic move to gain support from a broader base, rather than a reflection of his true beliefs. His confirmation hearings would likely force him to clarify his stance. As he faced tough questions from both sides, Kennedy would need to articulate a clear and consistent position on abortion. The hearings would be a critical moment for him to address the confusion and demonstrate where he truly stands on this contentious issue. The public and political observers alike would be watching closely, eager to see if Kennedy could navigate this complex issue with the clarity and conviction that many felt had been lacking in his previous statements. His ability to do so could have significant implications for his political future and the broader debate over abortion rights in America. The Senate's responsibility is clear: to advise and consent on presidential appointments. With a deeply divided Senate, the outcome of Kennedy's confirmation was uncertain. The chamber became a microcosm of the nation's divide on abortion. The confirmation hearings promised to be contentious. Senators from both sides of the aisle prepared to grill Kennedy on his views. His past statements, his perceived flip-flops, all would be subject to intense scrutiny. The nation watched with bated breath, the future of the Department of Health and Human Services hanging in the balance. The Senate's decision would have far-reaching implications, impacting healthcare policy and abortion access for millions. Section 5. Public outcry, a nation divided. RFK Jr.'s nomination ignited a firestorm of debate across the nation. Pro-choice groups rallied, protesting his nomination and demanding his rejection. They argued that his appointment would jeopardize women's reproductive rights. Anti-abortion organizations, while cautiously optimistic, expressed reservations about Kennedy's past statements. They urged the Senate to closely examine his record and demand unwavering commitment to their cause. The debate raged on social media, in living rooms, and on the steps of the Capitol. The nation, deeply divided on the issue of abortion, found itself at a crossroads. Section 6. The HHS Secretary. A powerful position. The Secretary of Health and Human Services holds immense power, shaping healthcare policy for the entire nation. This role is not just about administration. It's about making decisions that affect the health and well-being of every American. From the policies that govern our hospitals to the regulations that ensure the safety of our medications, the Secretary's influence is far-reaching. Their decisions impact access to affordable health care, the fight against diseases, and crucially, reproductive health services. Imagine the weight of deciding how resources are allocated during a pandemic, or how to address the opioid crisis that has gripped the nation. These are not just abstract policies, they translate into real-world outcomes for patients and healthcare providers alike. The Secretary oversees a vast budget, manages critical health programs like Medicare and Medicaid, and plays a key role in shaping the government's response to public health crises. With a budget that runs into the hundreds of billions, the Secretary's financial decisions can determine the success or failure of key health initiatives. Whether it's funding for cancer research or support for mental health services, the impact is profound. Their influence extends to every corner of the healthcare system. From urban hospitals to rural clinics, the policies set forth by the Secretary affect how healthcare is delivered across the country. This includes the training and support of healthcare workers, who rely on these policies to provide the best care possible. Given the department's vast reach, the Secretary's stance on abortion carries significant weight. In a nation deeply divided on this issue, the Secretary's policies can either expand or restrict access to abortion services, influencing the lives of countless women. This is a responsibility that requires careful consideration and a deep understanding of the ethical, medical, and social implications. Their decisions can have a profound impact on the lives of millions of women, shaping access to reproductive healthcare services. Beyond abortion, this includes access to contraception, prenatal care, and other essential health services. The Secretary's role is pivotal in ensuring that women have the resources and support they need to make informed decisions about their health. Section 7. Potential implications. A nation on edge. The potential implications of RFK Jr.'s confirmation were far-reaching. His appointment could have a chilling effect on abortion access, emboldening states to enact further restrictions. The future of reproductive rights hung in the balance. Conversely, his rejection could energize the Democratic base, potentially influencing the upcoming election. The political fallout from his nomination was undeniable, further deepening the partisan divide. The nation waited anxiously, the fate of healthcare and reproductive rights hanging in the balance. The Senate's decision would reverberate for years to come, shaping the political landscape and impacting the lives of millions. Section 8. The future of choice. The controversy surrounding RFK Jr.'s nomination served as a stark reminder of the fragility of reproductive rights. It highlighted the deep divisions within the nation, the passionate beliefs on both sides of the abortion debate. As the Senate prepared to vote, the future of choice remained uncertain. The nation held its breath, bracing for the impact of the Senate's decision. Whatever the outcome, one thing was clear: the fight for reproductive rights, the battle for the future of choice, was far from over. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more trending news.